You eat something healthy, a little sauerkraut, coconut yogurt, and suddenly your stomach's in knots, your head's pounding, and your skin's breaking out in hives. And you're thinking, wait, I thought this was supposed to help me heal. If that's you, you might be dealing with histamine intolerance. And today, I'm going to show you how to use herbs and simple lifestyle shifts to calm your system and get your life back. One of my students in our Herbal Medicine for the Soul program thought she was healing her gut by eating fermented foods every day, but one night after too much fermented burdock root, her lips swelled so badly she couldn't even smile. Weeks later, it happened again, this time from coconut yogurt. Foods she once loved were suddenly betraying her. Sound familiar? If you've been there, you are not alone. And here's the kicker. It's not about the food being bad. It's about how your body processes histamine, or more accurately, how it can't right now. But before we can fix that, we need to understand what histamine actually is and why your body might be struggling to break it down. Histamine is one of the most misunderstood chemicals in our body. Most people only think of it when they hear the word antihistamine, but histamine is way more than allergy sneezes and rashes. It actually plays several important roles as one of the immune system's messengers, helping to regulate sleep, digestion, emotions, even memory. The problem isn't histamine itself. The problem is when your body can't break it down. And one more piece I want to bring in here, the role of mast cells and the immune cascade. Histamine is the most visible messenger, but it's not the only one. When mast cells become over-triggered by gut inflammation, stress, toxins, certain foods, or deeper immune dysregulation, they release not just histamine, but also a whole suite of other chemical messengers. Pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemokines, leukotrienes, these compounds create a state of immune over-alertness, where your body stays on guard even when there's no real threat. So in other words, you're not just dealing with a histamine spike, you're dealing with a web of immune cells that keep driving inflammation and symptoms. So when we say things like calm the immune system, what we really mean is help to stabilize those mast cells and other cells, reduce the over-release of inflammatory mediators, and restore balance to the whole immune network, not just block histamine. Normally, your body uses an enzyme called diamine oxidase, or DAO, to clear out histamine. But when DAO levels are low, or your immune system is overloaded by histamine and other toxins, that's when histamine builds up. The result: migraines, stomach upset, rashes, congestion. It feels like an allergy, but it's not. And because symptoms overlap with so many conditions, people often get misdiagnosed, leaving them feeling stuck and super frustrated. So let's get practical, because while there's no one-size-fits-all approach, there never is with health, there are some supportive steps that you can take to lower your histamine load and feel normal again. Now that you know what's really going on inside of your body, let's talk about how to calm that histamine chaos, starting with what's on your plate. Diet is the front line of managing histamine intolerance, like it is with many conditions, and it's where most people see the biggest transformation. But before we talk about what to eat, it's important to understand why diet matters so much here. Every bite you take either adds to your histamine load or helps your body clear it. So when histamine intolerance flares up, it's like your body's detox systems, your liver, your gut, and that crucial DAO enzyme are waving a white flag. They're saying, we're overloaded, we need a pause. That's where the elimination phase comes in terms of diet. You'll remove foods that are naturally high in histamine or that trigger the release of histamine in your body. Think of it as this, that you're giving your gut and your liver a quiet retreat, a chance to reset, restore, and rebuild their capacity. Now, the key here isn't perfection, it's consistency and gentleness. This phase isn't forever, and it's not about restriction for restriction's sake. It's about creating calm in your system so that your body can catch up on the cleanup work it's been too overwhelmed to do. So during this reset period, focus on foods that are fresh, simple, and grounding. Fresh meats and fish, nothing aged or left over, cooked vegetables like zucchini, carrots, or sweet potato, low histamine fruits like blueberries, apples, and pears. You can also include nourishing grains like quinoa and rice, and gentle fats like olive oil or coconut oil. And remember, the body eliminates excess histamine primarily through the digestive system, especially the liver. That process relies on the enzyme diamine oxidase, or DAO. We're going to keep talking about this. DAO acts like your body's cleanup crew, breaking down histamine before it builds up in your tissues. But when the gut lining is inflamed or nutrient levels are low, DAO can't do its job effectively. That's why this elimination period isn't just about avoiding certain foods, it's also about healing the terrain that produces DAO in the first place. After your body has had time to rest and inflammation begins to settle, you move into the reintroduction phase. This part is a gentle detective process. Slowly bring back one food at a time, maybe a spoonful of sauerkraut, a slice of tomato, a few bites of avocado, and observe how your body responds over the next 24 to 48 hours. Some people find they can tolerate small amounts once their system is calmed. Others realize certain foods are just better left off their plate for now. So if you're wondering what might be keeping your system on edge, start by taking a break from these high histamine foods. Here are the big culprits you'll want to eliminate during the elimination phase. Aged cheeses like Parmesan or blue cheese, fermented foods like sauerkraut, kombucha, vinegar, cured meats like salami, pepperoni, bacon, smoked fish and shellfish, tomatoes, spinach, citrus fruits, bananas, strawberries, and avocados, and yes, alcohol, especially wine and beer. I know that sounds like half of your favorite foods. The goal isn't to eliminate joy from eating, it's to rebuild trust between you and your body and your plate. Over time, as your gut heals, your DAO levels strengthen, and your liver becomes more efficient, your tolerance often increases. You start to find that middle ground where food becomes your friend again and not your trigger. So remember, this isn't forever. The goal is to reset, then carefully test what you can handle long term. Now let's talk about some key nutrients. To give your body backup, there are certain nutrients that play a huge role in histamine metabolism. Vitamin B6, this helps your body make DAO. Vitamin C lowers your histamine levels. Magnesium assists in breaking histamine down, and copper is needed to activate DAO. Now, before you go out and buy a whole bunch of supplements, your first goal should be to consume these nutrients in their most bioavailable form, which is inside of healthy and whole food. Targeted supplements can help too. And if you want more explanation on the supplement form and the nitty-gritty into how DAO works, then be sure to download the full histamine intolerance article. It's totally free and goes into more detail on everything I'm talking about here. We'll link the free article in the description below. Struggling with a health issue that just won't budge? You want a holistic path. You're even thinking about becoming an herbalist, but you need real guidance. Let's talk. Book a free call with me and we'll figure out your next right step, whether it's a private consultation or one of my signature programs like Herbal Medicine for the Soul. So if you are ready to feel better and live on purpose, click the link and schedule your free call today. Let's get you aligned and moving forward. Now let's talk herbs. This is where nature steps in with some powerful allies. This is where the magic of herbal medicine really shines because herbs don't just block histamine, they also help support your body in regulating again. As always, remember that all herbs have multiple actions. They're made up of thousands of compounds that work together in the body to create subtle but powerful shifts. So I'm just highlighting how these particular herbs can support histamine balance. You'll want to do further research on them to make sure they're supportive for your overall constitution and any other issues you might be experiencing. Nettle, goldenrod, skullcap, and butterbur. These herbs help reduce histamine release and inflammation. Nettle in particular is rich in minerals that nourish while gently stabilizing mast cells. Reishi and cordyceps mushrooms, these are immune modulators, meaning they help tone down an overactive immune response while strengthening overall resilience. They don't suppress the immune system, they help regulate immune signaling so your body can respond appropriately instead of overreacting. Marshmallow and slippery elm, these soothe and rebuild the gut lining. When the gut wall is calm and protected, DAO enzymes can function more effectively, which helps clear histamine naturally. Holy basil, chamomile, and oats, these nourish the nervous system and calm the stress response. Since stress can trigger mast cell activation, this trio helps reduce the body's overall reactivity. Dandelion root and burdock root, these support the liver's detox pathways in addition to milk thistle. When the liver is clearing waste efficiently, histamine and other inflammatory compounds don't have a chance to build up. Together, these herbs create a full circle approach, calming overactive mast cells, easing inflammation, strengthening the gut and liver, and helping the nervous system release its grip. In other words, they don't just block histamine, they help your body remember how to regulate itself again. But histamine intolerance isn't just physical. There are often emotional layers, as there is with everything. Ever notice hives or rashes showing up during times of anger, frustration, unresolved emotions? Sometimes your body's histamine flare is just echoing unresolved emotional ebbs and flows. Journaling, breath work, even doing some emotional reflection can really open doors to deeper healing. And let's not forget about stress. When we have high levels of stress, physical, mental, or otherwise, cortisol is released into the body. We need cortisol to function, but when it's high for too long, it causes problems. Chronic high levels of cortisol triggers more histamine to be released in the body, and because the body is stressed, it slows down histamine breakdown, slows down healing, and this is contributing to those histamine flares. Now, before you go out and buy a bunch of herbs, here's a quick safety tip. You want to do a short skin patch test. This is really important for people with histamine intolerance because you want to test yourself with a single herb to see if you have a reaction before taking it internally. So you'll make 1 cup of tea with a single herb using 1 teaspoon of the herb into 8 ounces of fresh boiled hot water. Let it steep covered until it reaches room temperature. Then dip a cotton swab or a cloth into the tea and rub it onto clean skin, maybe the inside of your elbow or your wrist. Cover it with a bandage or a wrap and wait 24 hours. If you see redness, itching, or swelling the next day, it's a no-go. If you don't, then you actually want to repeat the test again because sometimes reactions happen after the second exposure. If you do see reactions, you don't want to use that herb. If you don't, you're safe to try it internally. So do this for each herb you plan to try separately before combining the herbs. Now let's make an herbal blend. Here's something you can start today after your skin patch test. A simple daily infusion to lower histamine, calm inflammation, and support detoxification. You'll need 1 tablespoon of nettle leaf. Nettle is an excellent herb to modulate the body's inflammation processes. It's also nourishing, and with it being high in vitamins and minerals such as vitamin C, potassium, calcium, and iron, it also provides much needed nutrients. 1 tablespoon of goldenrod. Goldenrod is a bitter herb that helps to cleanse the kidneys and liver, which clears out histamine in the body. Goldenrod's genus name is Solidago, which means to make whole or heal. It is anti-inflammatory and astringent, what helps to calm chronic runny noses or sinus problems that tend to come with histamine reactions. And then 2 teaspoons of burdock root powder. Burdock is a wonderful liver supportive herb. Burdock supports the detoxification pathways and therefore histamine clearance. Burdock has an affinity for the skin as well, helps to heal the skin from the inside out while clearing out impurities and toxins in the blood. And then 1 teaspoon of ginger root powder. Ginger is wonderful for lowering inflammation, especially in the gut. It helps inhibit histamine release while improving circulation and digestion, supporting smoother movement of nutrients and waste throughout the body. So combine with 24 ounces of hot water, cover and steep for at least an hour. The longer, the better. So up to 4 hours if you can be patient. The longer the steeping time, it helps to draw out the minerals. Then you'll strain and drink 1 to 2 cups daily. This blend cools inflammation, nourishes with minerals, and helps your body clear histamine more effectively. You deserve to feel safe in your body again, to eat without fear and breathe without tightness, to trust your body's signals, and herbs can help you do just that. So here's the bottom line. Histamine intolerance doesn't have to control your life. By calming your diet, supporting enzymes and nutrients, and using herbs for both your body and emotions, you can finally take the edge off of those relentless symptoms. I'm Selima Harleston Lust, clinical herbalist and co-founder of I Will a Remedy. For over 12 years, I've taught more than 6,000 people how to use herbs skillfully to restore and nourish their bodies. If you're ready to take the next step in your healing journey, book a call with me to dive deeper into your solutions because this is just the beginning.